Yo, it's July 1st, which means that it is my 3rd year anniversary of me losing it all. And by it all, I mean my investments in Bitcoin and various other cryptocurrencies that I was involved with at that time. But I want to back it up, the origin story, if you will, which started in 2014. I was into doing some online gambling, mostly playing poker, and I noticed that some of the sites that I was utilizing were offering Bitcoin as an option to get paid out in. I had never heard of Bitcoin before. I didn't know what it was. I did some minimal research on it, and ultimately, I decided that it was magic internet money, and I wanted nothing to do with it. Shortly thereafterwards, I also realized that online gambling was probably not for me, so I stopped. I stopped playing. Needless to say, Bitcoin fell off the radar. It wasn't until maybe a year or so later that I started to hear stories about the dark web and people were ordering drugs or prostitutes or doing all these illegal things uh, online. I didn't even understand what the dark web was, but they were utilizing Bitcoin to do this. So basically, the only two things that I associated Bitcoin with at that time was online gambling and illegal activities. It wasn't until about 2017 that I heard of a friend that actually made enough money in Bitcoin to quit his job and open the business that he had dreamed about, that he had always wanted to open. And that was kind of inspiring. So I started to look back into it again. And at that particular moment in time, it seemed like the only place to really consistently buy Bitcoin that everybody was using was Coinbase. I don't think it was a brand new app at the time, but it was new to me. So I downloaded Coinbase, and I remember I made my first Bitcoin purchase, and Bitcoin was $7,000. I didn't spend $7,000. I think I threw in 1,000 at that time. Um, and in just a few short months, Bitcoin had jumped to $21,000, and I tripled my money, and I freaked out. I said, "Oh my God, I just turned $1,000 into $3,000," and I cashed out. I used that money for bills. I figured, hey, I win, but I didn't understand Bitcoin, and I didn't know what I was doing. And one of the rules of investing is know what you're investing in. Don't go in blindly. Please take the time to research whatever investment you're deciding to make. Uh, and the other rule to investing is never invest more than you can afford to lose. And that was a hard lesson, but we'll get back to that. So, anyways, Coinbase was where I was buying my Bitcoin. And when you're on that Coinbase app, they're shilling Ethereum and Litecoin and I don't know, hundreds of other cryptocurrencies, and they're way cheaper than Bitcoin ever was. So my mentality at the time was, oh, let me invest in a bunch of these different ones here, and hopefully one of these will pop and I'll make some really good money. That didn't really happen. Anyways, in my fascination with these other cryptocurrencies and DeFi markets, I started to research some of them, and I found one that I really wanted, and it was called Cardano. And Coinbase did not sell it, so I started the mission hunting for another platform where I could buy Cardano. Um, and I ultimately came across an application called Voyager. Now, Voyager ended up being a company that was founded by this dude named Steve Ehrlich, and he was instrumental, or he was a big shot in E-Trade. Legit company, totally legit company. Voyager was also legit. They were a publicly traded company. I bought their stock. Uh, he worked closely with Mark Cuban. They had a sponsorship deal with the Dallas Mavericks. I believe they had some other female sports team, and I even think they had a race car. I'm not sure if it was NASCAR or not. But Voyager was also releasing a debit card that was tied to your cryptocurrencies, and you could earn rewards in cryptocurrency. And this was revolutionary at that time. So I went all in. I mean, I moved everything that I had on Coinbase to Voyager. I was using Voyager as my only platform to purchase and hold my cryptocurrencies and my Bitcoin. Well, on July 1st, 2022, they froze all withdrawals. They seized all the funds and they declared bankruptcy. And next thing you know, all my funds got tied up in a bankruptcy court. And to this day, I got back maybe pennies to the dollar. It was a hard lesson. I feel like it was my tuition. My dues are paid. I learned a hard lesson. It hurt, but like I said, you don't ever invest more than you can afford to lose. So I only lost well, actually, I lost everything that I could afford to lose. Trust me when I tell you that. It sucked. It sucked, but whatever. We move on. Life keeps lifing. So even with that bad taste in my mouth, I still felt like I was doing the right thing, and I was involved in the right industry, and I was involved with the right investments. I was just using the wrong place to do it. So I started to do some research, and that's when I learned about cold storage, which is basically taking any cryptocurrencies that you purchase online at an exchange and taking them off of there and putting them behind keys that you hold. Only you can use them to access these funds. Well, in doing that research, I started to also stumble across some Bitcoin only sites. And I saw some videos from this dude named Jack Mallers. He was a brilliant kid, but he was like Bitcoin only, like the most hardcore Bitcoin person I've ever heard in my entire life, but inspiring. So he founded a company called Strike, and it was a Bitcoin only company. It was built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. So I started going down just this Bitcoin rabbit hole. Slowly but surely, I started to realize that I was investing in all these other cryptocurrencies that they weren't checking the right boxes for me, but Bitcoin did. So I think it was, the first week of July, I downloaded that Strike app and I started dollar cost averaging my Bitcoin to where I'm at today. So that's pretty much how I became Bitcoin only. There really is a lot more to this story, and I'll probably be diving into other things that have happened to me along the way. I just wanted to get this out there today because it was kind of an important day. But I'll be probably making some other videos about cold storage that I was talking about. But I didn't want this video to run super mega long and bore you guys to death with my story. But yeah, stay tuned. If you've been following along this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you. If you like what I'm doing, or you know somebody that might, share, subscribe. I don't know what the people say. Click the bells, do the things. So thank you for watching. Remember, turn on, tune in, and stack sats. For the first time, this is financial entertainment.